What's up, family? This is the Locker Room Beef podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please go check out our website at lockerroombeef.com. It's got all our stuff there. You can see our LRB column. So we have sports articles written every week, a couple of them. We have another one coming up soon about John Wall, which we referred to in the pod. We also have our social media outlets there. So Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, anything you got, just go make sure you hit us with a follow. We are featured on Apple Podcasts, as we said last week. So if you prefer that medium, I definitely recommend it. And I highly consider subscribing. Definitely not going to make you do anything, but highly consider it, along with a rate and review if you're into that. Congratulations to the Astros. An awesome win for them and a ridiculous series. We actually talk about that a little today with the Philly guy, our guest today for our podcast. We talk about a lot of things. It's really a mixed bag, several sports, and we introduce a bunch of segments. We talk about the NBA, the NFL, Champions League, and some fantasy updates. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the pod. Thank you for tuning in, and let's do it. What's up, family? This is the Locker Room Beef podcast. I am joined today by the Philly guy, Nick. How are you?
Doing great, Kev.
I see you're wearing your great attire there in the Philly night. Is that what's going on?
It is a Winter Classic Shane Go-to-Spare jersey, and it is fire. Great jersey.
One of 4 jerseys.
For every team.
I'm excited about our episode today. Again, we have some new segments to introduce, so I'll start with our newest one, which is up and down trends. So basically we'll be going over teams or players basically that are trending up and trending down according to Nick or I. So go ahead, we'll start with you. Who's trending up?
Well, I want to say Philadelphia, but that Rockets win wasn't enough to really get us fully trending up. But I'm going to stick in the NBA, and I really like what's going on with the Memphis Grizzlies right now. I don't know if you feel what I'm saying, but you look up in the standings, you see the first team of the list says the Memphis Grizzlies out west. Doesn't say Golden State, doesn't say OKC, doesn't say Houston, doesn't even say San Antonio. It says the Memphis Grizzlies. And they're not even doing it with Conley and Gasol playing out of their world. I think they're averaging like 20 and 17 apiece right now, but the team is just clicking on all cylinders. I don't know. How do you feel about them?
I mean, it's also early in the season, so like the Magic are playing well right now, so that just gives you perspective. But I agree with you. It's funny because every year I write off Memphis, just kind of like every year people write off San Antonio as a championship contender, but then they always remind you why you can't do that. Another thing about Memphis, I actually like Chandler Parsons, so when they signed him for a crazy max contract, making like 20-something million a year, I wasn't mad at it because he was sort of futuristic in his gameplay. I mean, the big thing is he was like, it's not like he was playing horribly, although he wasn't playing well, but he got injured, and that's why people are like, oh, that money wasn't worth it. But now he's actually contributing to the team, which being a guy that's paid that much, you should. And Conley has always been probably the most underrated player in the NBA for the past decade. And Gasol is somebody that people don't realize is he's probably the most productive big man in the league. I mean,
and they're
right
not
now,
even playing that well right now. That's why I'm so excited about the Grizzlies team, is because they're not clicking on all cylinders. Gasol and Conley aren't playing out of their world. They just are playing average basketball, and the team around them is picking them up. So I think, honestly, this start feels for real. This isn't like Orlando where they're shooting lights out and Aaron Gordon looks like Blake Griffin. This just looks like a Grizzlies team that hasn't even hit their full potential yet.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Memphis is the team you got to watch out for. And in my preseason predictions, I did not have them in the playoffs. So right now, I look like an idiot. I know.
And you made fun of me for liking the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, because the Utah Jazz won't make it either.
And you know what the Grizzlies in? Do you have like the Lakers in the playoffs?
No, I wish.
Lonzo really hard right now?
Lonzo's been pretty good.
I don't know. He's put up more than 10 points twice this year so far. And
yeah, but how about assists and rebounds? It's not just points that go on the score.
I tell you, man, Lonzo can put up a 2-2-2 stat line, and he'll be front page of ESPN. I can't.
That I'm not going to argue with, but honestly, he's been doing stuff that some of the greats haven't been able to do in their rookie year.
Bullshit. Ben Simmons is putting up a better line right now as a rookie.
Okay, Ben Simmons. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is not doing bad, but Lonzo and Ben are literally front runners for the rookie of the year, as they should be.
Where's Markel calls you out on your Lonzo fanboying, but I'm here. I'm going to be the guy to do it.
Where's Markel at?
Markel is getting healthy, man. Every Sixers first round pick, got to wait a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Got to wait a little bit of time.
Yeah, I hope that cortisone shot works. All right, anyways, moving on. Trending up. One of your guys, I would say. I have Deshaun Watson as trending up. I mean, the guy has been sort of destroying recently. He had a great game against the Seahawks where him and Russell Wilson both just went off. If you had either of them in fantasy, that was a dub. Yeah. Luckily, I had Russell Wilson on the bench, so that makes me feel good.
He's an
but yeah, Deshaun Watson, I mean, four passing touchdowns, yards, like just a sick game. For a rookie, it's like that kind of stuff's never been done. So Deshaun Watson, a guy that I'm thinking is starting to really put himself in elite category for young quarterbacks. What do you think?
Can I just open with saying, I told you so?
You're such a dick.
I told all of you so. Deshaun Watson is a winner. I mean, plain as that. There's certain quarterbacks that have it. It's perfect that you mentioned Russell, because Russell was another guy who was great in college, but he was a winner. His film never looked perfect, but he was a winner. He's no Blaine Gabbert. He's no Mitch Trubisky, who just looked good. This kid went out and he won college football games, and he knows how to lead a football team. The way he's rallying behind a Texas team that doesn't even have their best two defensive players with Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt out, he is dragging a team, and they just took away his left tackle. He got Dwayne Brown for one game, and he's still running through teams. I love Deshaun, and I think he's Rookie of the Year, and I think he'll be probably the 5th or 6th vote for MVP at this point.
Wow. I mean, I'm with you. I think he's got that it factor. Russell Wilson kind of has always been my favorite player in the NFL, just because I always thought people slept on him. But when he made his move from Nebraska, I believe, to Wisconsin.
NC State.
I was like, man, this guy's pretty good. And I'm a really big proponent on people with high character. I just think that translates much more like beyond the field and beyond the sport. So I think Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson are very synonymous in that sense. But Deshaun I'm with you. The dude's just a winner. I'm pissed that on that 4th down that basically cost them the game, that they didn't give it to Deshaun to just navigate and orchestrate, because they ended up trying to go for, like a 3-yard run to get the first down. And I get it. That probably makes the most sense. But they've been destroying the defense, the Seahawk defense, with Deshaun's arm. So I don't see why you don't do that again or let him run. Did you agree with that coaching decision?
I don't know with Bill O'Brien. The book is out on him. He's supposed to be a good coach. I mean, Penn State guy. I love him. Under Belichick's coaching tree, so he should know what he's doing. But at that point, you got to keep the hot hand. I know he's a rookie, but you got to keep the hot hand with Deshaun Watson. But another thing I want to talk about while we are mentioning great quarterbacks in the league, can we talk about the fact that 2 of probably the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now were both passed up by the Cleveland Browns in the last 2 years? Can we talk about Carson? I'd say that Carson and Deshaun are up there with Brady, Breeze, and Russell Wilson as the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And Cleveland could have had them both.
Yeah, just major L's going on in Cleveland, to be honest. It's honestly sad. Do you say they're the worst run franchise in sports?
Do you see they couldn't even do a trade out of the deadline? They tried to trade 2 draft picks for A.J. McCarron, and they submitted it at 5:02, so the league canceled it.
Oh my God, that's like submitting your assignment at 12:01.
Yeah, and the teacher didn't cut them no slack.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the teacher being Roger in the NFL.
They can't do anything right. They just generally cannot. They see the worst. They see Johnny Manziel, and they're like, bring him on. They see Carson Wentz, John Watson, they don't want to touch him. Blows my mind.
No, yeah, Cleveland's good luck recovering from all that. I mean, their fan base knows that's the worst part. I think that's more apparent in football, especially in the quarterback position, than any other sport. Because in basketball, you don't really look at it like that. You look at it, oh, here's the guy that passed up on. Yeah, that'll be mentioned, but a lot of teams will pass up on that. But Cleveland, like in NFL, it's I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the drafting process is so much geared toward need rather than just best player. Except if you're like the Browns, which you don't really have anything that's a surefire player. So like, I don't know. The fact that they just passed up so many elite players is just, I feel bad for them and their fan base.
They look like a process era Sixers where they're just trading down and picking up draft picks. So in the NFL, you got to hit that quarterback. You cannot build a team without quarterback. You need two things to win. I remember seeing in the Ringer NFL show, they were talking about it. It's a quarterback league and it's a rookie contract league. So the Browns have the rookie contracts. The problem is they cannot get their quarterback. They're at the risk of sacrificing their quarterback. They keep getting more draft picks and stepping back, and they keep missing. Because, I mean, Deshaun Kaiser, why waste a draft pick on this guy and throw him out there? He was not prepared to play NFL on Sunday, and they just threw him out there. And it's just another waste of a second-round draft pick. Why not draft a guy that actually think could be a franchise leader? There's serious issues there in Cleveland.
I mean, I give Kaiser credit because I do think he was thrown out there, and I don't think he's done the worst that he could, and I think he's done all right. But I agree with you. I don't think he's a long-term franchise guy like what Wentz looks like or Watson looks like.
Honorary trending down Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Honorary. I don't think they've ever been trending up.
Yeah, no, they haven't trended up since Jim Brown.
No, Derek Anderson. Made 10-6. They missed the playoffs by a tiebreaker like 7 or 8 years ago.
That's so sad with a 10-6 record that they still couldn't get in the playoffs.
Cleveland.
Yeah. All right. So another trending up for you.
Complete change of topic. I don't know much about hockey. I know my Flyers and I know everyone out east. I don't know shit about the West. But I'm out there giving respect for Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Shout out.
First year in the league. They've got one guy from every other team in the league, so no chemistry whatsoever. And they're out there, and they are legitimately second place in the division and 8-3. They started 8-1
What?
with a expansion team. I've never seen it done before. I didn't think it could be. There's no way that anyone could have predicted this. And I think we need to hop on the bandwagon before it's too late, because Las Vegas looks for real.
It's pretty cool. I think that Vegas is an interesting sports town. A lot of teams are migrating in that direction, and now they have a new hockey team, obviously, like you stated.
Vegas Raiders, too.
Yeah, that's a tremendous start for a freaking expansion squad. And like you said, zero chemistry. Like, it's just like, oh, you're literally learning names, and then you're trying to go onto the ice.
I can name two players on their team. I can name Marc-Andre Fleury, because he's the goalkeeper that they took, and Pierre Bellemare, I can't even pronounce it right, the guy they took from the Flyers. So I was like, good riddance. He's our fourth line enforcer. And they're out there killing it. I just can't process what's going on in Vegas right now. I need to watch games.
Yeah, no, that's honestly insane. I can't believe that, because you probably know as many of the teammates as they know right now. But,
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. All right, let's switch it up again. Last team or player that's trending up. A lot of Champions League happened recently, Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of interesting stuff. I think some of the top dogs, did what they were supposed to, and some not so much. But a team that I was very genuinely surprised by that I think is trending up and will for the future is the Tottenham.
Can I guess? Oh, I was going to say Tottenham.
You were?
I was going to say Tottenham.
It's the Tottenham Hotspurs.
Shout out.
Super impressed by their performance on Wednesday. Obviously, me being a Real Madrid fan, I watched all 90 minutes. Harry Kane just came back. Dele Alli just came back from his suspension, and they looked like they weren't missing a beat. I mean, they didn't absolutely dominate Real. I think the score actually didn't tell the full story, because Real offensively was fine. It was just one of those days where they had a scenario where they had like 4 shots on target in a row, and it it was not working out. But every offensive trip for Tottenham, they couldn't have executed much better. And I was super impressed by that. And Real just looked pitiful on defense. I mean, they always sort of play this attacking style, and they bring Sergio Ramos up, Marcelo. They love bringing up their fullbacks, like a lot of teams do nowadays. And typically it works out for them. But my goodness, they just cannot figure it out. And almost nobody's in good form. I mean, the best player you could say that's good for them right now is Isco, but even for his standards, he's kind of just being average for him. So yeah, I'm super impressed by Tottenham. I think Eriksen is playing super well. Dele Alli, Harry Kane. before I was hearing a bunch of rumors about Harry Kane possibly being traded to Madrid because I guess they have expressed interest in him for replacing Benzema, which I've always been a little bit of a Benzema supporter. I don't think Benzema's great, but I think a lot of people give him bad flack. In reality,
do you really see Harry Kane leaving England?
I don't know. That's the thing. What I wanted to say is that I think now I am a Harry Kane fan. That wasn't really the case before. But after watching that match, I'm like, wow, the dude's super hardworking. I've never really been impressed with any of his highlights or anything like that. But he really picks and chooses his spots really well. And that's half of soccer. Yeah, he's super efficient.
Do you think Tottenham is going to be all in for the Champions League or the Premier League? Because, they're killing it right now in the group play, and they're at the top in the Premier League.
I'm going to say Premier League. I think that's a bigger deal for them and a little bit more attainable, as weird as that sounds. I think just obviously from a country standpoint, that's a lot bigger of a deal. And because they're in such a good spot right now, I think that's where they're going to put all their eggs in. Obviously, see what they can do. They're one of the few teams, or one of the 4 teams that's already qualified for the round of 16 for Champions League, so that's a win for them. And it's sad because with them advancing, and I assume Real will as well, Dortmund's not going to be able to advance. Another L for that team, and for
another L for Pulisic.
Yeah, I was going to say another L for Pulisic fans, which is just another scenario where we're not going to be able to see him play on a big stage, including the World Cup. So
going to be watching a lot of Bundesliga.
Yeah, so trending up, I'm going to say the Tottenham Hotspurs. I was very impressed by them.
You know who's the opposite of the Tottenham Hotspurs?
Who?
Liverpool.
All right, so we'll start with trending down. So you're trending down as Liverpool. Why is that?
Yep. We won today. Playing a bad team, so I don't really take it for much. But I think this team is on the verge of collapse. And I love our offense. I love our midfield. I love our attacking 6. And I love Klopp. But I feel like our back line is a mess. I feel like there's so much dysfunction and disarray, especially with Klein out still, and Mignolet, Karras, and just that goalie rotation. You never know who's going to play. And on top of that, besides Matip, I don't trust anyone on the back line. And I don't think we can play good soccer. If all it takes is, we saw it with Man City. You sit back on us and you counter, and our defense is left out on an island. There's no holding the line. They're through easy, and it's an easy goal. And I think that with them missing on the transfer market this summer, I don't think there's any quick fixes in January that could solve this problem. I think we're going to be hearing a lot about Liverpool winning games 5-4 or losing 3-1. Just a lot of goals being given up, the Reds.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Are you a big Mo Salah groupie?
How could you not be, Kevin? He's beautiful.
What?
He is. I've always liked him, but then I heard that he won this big award in his country.
He's my Egyptian prince.
What?
Yeah, and so he won a big, it was an Egyptian Player of the Year award or something, and he turned it down and asked for the funds for the little medal or whatever, the trophy that he wins, to go to charity. And I was like, wow, that's a boss move right there. But yeah, I agree with you. Liverpool not looking too great. Had an easy opponent today. They should have won. They took care of business, so that's good. But they are a very talented squad. I do like Klopp, but at some point you really have to break into being one of the elite top 6 in Premier League, and I think they're going to have a tough time doing that yet again.
I think we're top 6. The question is, are we top 4 right now?
That's what I mean, breaking beyond that top 6, because they have the talent, and if they are anything less, then it's a disappointment. But I think if they want to really reach their ambitions, they're going to have to go in that top 4-3.
Yeah, because Arsenal's down. Man City, Man United, Chelsea, and Tottenham. That's the problem. Where are we going to crack there?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you with me and the other Matts that are part of the LRB family?
Shut up.
Now you agree with me that Man City is the team to beat?
I'm still on United.
Wow, it's funny because honestly, I'm a United supporter, but
I hate United. But when I watch City play, I don't see a title winner. Still don't.
Can you say one reason why, or it's just the feeling?
I could say a reason why. You'll probably disagree with me, so I'm going to probably mark it up as a feeling.
What is it?
I don't know. I just don't trust the players themselves.
When it matters.
I just, I feel like
Who do you have
Man
beef with?
Oh, Sterling.
Who, me?
Anyone else?
I don't know. I don't like Pep either.
What?
Do you like the dad bod De Bruyne?
Kevin De Bruyne. I like him in FIFA, but I don't think they're the kind of team that has the wherewithal to win it all, to be persistent throughout the year. I think they're going to have a big drop. They're going to lose 2 or 3 in a row and fall back into the middle of the top 4 pack. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I can just feel it. I feel like I like Chelsea and United over them right now.
Huh. Well, I think it's sort of an unpopular opinion at the moment, but time will tell, I guess.
I'm used to it.
Let me give you one of my trending downs. I mentioned them before, but one of my squads, one of my affiliations, for me, it's Ala Madrid. Obviously, they lost on Wednesday in Champions League to Tottenham, a game that actually the odds had it being a draw, which is sad because Real Madrid should be favored in every match they play, especially since I think they have the overall most talented roster.
Fanboy.
A fanboy, yes, but who won last year's Champions League?
I'm all about this year. I already forgot.
Who won the Champions League before that?
I forgot.
Oh, okay. Who
I remember
won
there was
Ballon d'Or last year?
One of the 2 best players in the world.
And who's going to win Ballon d'Or this year? Mo Salah. That's correct. So yeah, for me, trending down, Ala Madrid. They lost. They're doing horribly in La Liga, dropping points left and right. They completely lost. They dropped 3 points to the smallest team in La Liga. Could not believe that.
I had a friend lose
happened.
a lot of money on that game. He had a parlay of 5 different teams. They all won, and then with Madrid going down, lost the whole thing.
That is so pitiful. I feel so bad for him. And honestly,
Don't worry,
I would have put money on that too.
He's a Chelsea fan, so I wasn't too mad.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So Madrid trending down. Only 2 teams have ever come back being 8 points down in La Liga to ever win La Liga, and neither of those times was it Real Madrid. So Madrid's never done it in club history. Obviously, still early in the season, and you never know with Barcelona. They're still sort of figuring out how to bring in Dembele, who's been injured, and how to replace the void of Neymar. But they've been playing really well. Suarez hasn't even been playing that well. So really they're going to get Suarez back and Dembele back, and they're still performing in La Liga. So it's going to be a lot of ground for them to make up, Madrid. So for me, I had them trending down, and I hope to see that change.
God, can you believe both of our teams got trending down right now?
Yeah, that's what we opened up with, trending down.
I mean, if we want to go for the trifecta, can we give a quick shout out to Orlando City? Rest in peace, Kaká.
Rest in peace. I remember
Kyle
the
Larin
day.
and everyone else, and our dreams of making the playoffs next year. We're gonna go 0 for 4 for making playoffs.
Yeah, I never talked about this on the pod, but obviously being a bit of a City fan from the area, it was crazy to me that the guy that won the Ballon d'Or last, that wasn't Ronaldo or Messi, went to Orlando to play soccer in his early 30s. I thought he was like 39, but he was actually 32 or 31 when he joined City. Now retiring, I think it's probably the right move. It always seems like he didn't super enjoy playing, but he was obviously head and shoulders way better than everyone else.
Do you think he's done? Because I heard reports he might go play for Brazil, like a local team there.
He might do that. I mean, obviously he's from there, so I wouldn't be surprised by that. But I have heard that he does love the Orlando area.
Wants to coach.
He could, and that'd be a good opportunity for him, especially since I do think the Orlando market has been working well for MLS. But so shout out to Kaká. But so let's transition to another trending down team. My turn. We'll switch over to basketball, and my trending down squad is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can't believe how poorly they're playing. It's funny because literally a week ago, every sports network was talking about how Cleveland might be the deepest team that LeBron's ever had. And I can sort of see that argument. And now they're saying it's LeBron and who else? Which is like, can you guys just figure it out? Like, I get that some of the squad is not playing well. I agree with you.
Jay Crowder, Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, they look awful.
Well, Derrick Rose has hardly played. Jay Crowder, I agree with you, has looked awful. And I've always said he's a little bit overrated and not even that great of a defender. I don't know. They do not look good. They've dropped games to the Nets, to the Magic to the Knicks. I mean, those are three of the franchises that
Those
by
are three
year's
of the top
end.
4 contenders in the East.
Stop. And in about a week, that'll literally flip-flop, I'm sure. But I can't believe that they've taken so many L's. And these L's aren't close. They lost by almost 30 to the Magic, or like narrowly to the Nets. I think it was by 5. They got pounced by the Knicks. Like, ran off the floor. LeBron's not even playing in the last 5 minutes of the game. They have no shot. It's just pitiful.
But we do get to see point LeBron. That's fun.
That is fun. And it's basically like Ben Simmons. This is what you want to aspire to be. That's basically what I view it as.
I don't know. Ben actually just plays like a point guard, though. Like, a side note, he is legitimately a 6'10" point guard. It is Magic Johnson come again with Oscar Robertson stats.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in love. Side note. All right, I'm done. No more Philly talk.
No more Philly talk. Yeah, that probably won't last. So yeah, for me, Cleveland trending down. Who do you think is in a worse spot, Cleveland or the Warriors right now?
Well, I want to say the Warriors because honestly, you know how much I hate the Warriors. I hate what Kevin Durant went from my most favorite player in the NBA to I have not touched his Thunder jersey or his Texas jersey I own. But it's Cleveland.
You have a Kevin Durant Texas jersey?
Oh yeah.
Wow, I'll give you some respect.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm a frat guy. I got it.
You can still rep that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't. I have no respect for him anymore, especially with the Twitter troll shit too.
He's an idiot.
I mean, I agree that was sort of yeah, but he's part of our generation.
But like Kevin, he lost to a team in the finals and then went and joined them. This isn't like LeBron going to play for the Heat. This is losing to a team and saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna go join them." So I will always hate him for that. And he went from my favorite player to I can barely look at him. That little goatee, gots to go.
Gots to go. Warriors have the worst facial hair in the league.
Well, me?
Yeah, but it's the Cavs. The Cavs are older. I don't know if it's going to click. The Warriors, I trust they'll eventually click. They could take off nights 4 of the 7 days in a week and still make the playoffs and then roll.
Yeah, with the Warriors and the Cavs struggling, I made my Twitter poll Tuesday question.
Shout out.
Be which team is going to stop the inevitable Cavs-Warriors NBA Finals? And apparently I put the right teams because other ended up being the lowest percentage. But I put up the Wizards, Houston, and OKC, and I actually got the most votes for OKC.
No.
Oh, I'm all in on the John Wall train.
I was very surprised. It was OKC first, Houston second, Wizards third. I almost think what were the other people voting for? The Bucks?
Maybe the Spurs?
Yeah, could be the Spurs. I thought about putting
Pistons?
them. Oh, stop it. Tobias Harris, the GOAT.
But I don't know. Can we take a moment to say that there is actually not enough John Wall love on this podcast? You hear it every single time you have a guest on. We talk about John Wall. Whether it's Wade, whether it's Trap, whether it's me, John Wall love all the time. You've got to give in. You've got to stop talking Lonzo and start talking John Wall.
It's funny you say that because the next article that'll be in the LRB column is about your mans.
Well, me?
Oh, he's just perfect. He's my point guard. Until Markelle comes back, he's my point guard.
Anyways, I just realized I jumped the gun with giving 2 trending down. So why don't you give a trending down?
Trending down?
Yeah.
Let's go back to football. And speaking of shoulder injuries, Markelle.
Shout out.
Got to be the Tampa Bay Bucks. I can't feel more disappointed. I know it's your team. I can't feel any more disappointed with a team than with Tampa. With so many weapons, Jameis, the hard knocks, you think they're coming back, they're going to win the weak NFC South, and they come out and they're at the bottom. I've never seen a team get so hyped to finally bounce back to fall even lower. How do you feel?
2 of my favorite sports analysts, Bill Simmons, shout out to the Podfather,
Shout out.
and Colin Cowherd, both were talking about how they think that Tampa has Super Bowl potential in the beginning of the season, and it got me so hyped because I was thinking that, but obviously I have a bit of bias, and I'm a Jameis fan, and I'm like, man, if he could do what he does with half the interceptions and turnovers, it'd be amazing. But the problem is he's still doing the same thing. And I thought with O.J. Howard being their new rookie and bringing in the flyer and who's Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans.
I can't believe it. They have so many weapons, and And they got their running back, and they're 3 backs deep. Like,
you got Gerald McCoy like front line anchoring that defense.
I couldn't believe it. I can't believe, like, last year I was even impressed with Tampa Bay because we overexceeded expectations and we still ended up not making the playoffs. And I was like, man, if we just do what we did last year and Jameis plays a little better and we get some production out of OJ Howard and Jackson, that's a playoff team. And then anything happens in the playoffs in the NFL.
You still take Jameis over Marcus Mariota if you could redo it?
Oh, man, that's so tough. I think a couple of weeks ago I would have said yes, no hesitation. But now, I don't know.
Mariota's good too.
I'm going to be honest. I only like Jameis because he went to FSU, and that's the college team that I always grew up being supportive of. If he went anywhere else, I would have hated him because I can't stand people who just can't speak their first language.
Well, me?
And he's definitely one of them. And I've come to embrace it, right? I love Jameis. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL, but gosh, he's disappointing me.
Oh, his Heisman speech. If he had just held up a bucket of crab legs at the end too after his speech, would have been a fan for life.
One of my fantasy football leagues, the name of my team with Jameis on it is We Some Crab Legs, and the logo is a crab with his face on it. So, yeah, I totally embrace that joke. Speaking of Heisman speeches, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I didn't hear any of it. I watched it later, but we were too busy booing here in Clemson.
It's so cringy. He maybe 17, 20 times said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I can't believe it." Like, it was so cringy. But anyway, so yeah, I agree with you. Bucks trending down. I mean, they're having a tough time even winning a ball game. They're getting housed. A lot of these games, they're not even in the fourth quarter, and it's just sad.
Thank God for New York. They could have been the worst team in the NFC.
And nobody thought New York would do this poorly either.
Oh, I did.
Well, okay. Well, you're the genius on the pod. That's why I have you on.
Oh yeah, Philly sports. We're the real educated ones.
He's an idiot.
All right, well, let's transition to a new segment. So we just did up and down trends. So our newest segment will be a quick one. One that basically just embracing the sports culture nowadays, but it's going to be our hot take of the week. Nick will give one and I'll give one. But
I just called myself a genius, and you're going to let me say a hot take?
Yep. So Nick's hot take of the week, he'll go ahead and bring it to you. Let's bring the heat. Go for it.
So, Kevin, what time are we taping this pod right now?
It's 9:06 p.m. on Wednesday night.
Do you know what started at 9 p.m.?
It started at 8:20.
Oh, wow, I didn't even care. World Series Game 7. My hot take is this is the greatest World Series of all time.
What?
But it doesn't matter. Baseball's dying.
Oh, wow.
You're cringing. I can see you cringing.
Okay, I'm kind of two ways about it. On one hand, that was literally a take I had last week that I said that this would go 7 games, that the Astros would win in unbelievable fashion. So you can say, geez, Kevin, good job on that one. Like what Nick would say, I told you so. But I'm kind of with you. I mean, I guess me personally, I have a tough time really talking about baseball to people because I don't follow baseball as much as I follow other sports. Although I do have general knowledge about baseball that typically most others.
I think it's our generation. Because I can only follow, I used to be a huge baseball fan growing up, but I realized it was only because of the Phillies. When they were good, I could watch them. When the Phillies are bad, I can't watch baseball. I can't keep catching up on all these new players who come through the farm system, start batting 300, because there's so many. It's a hard sport to get excited about, is what I'm realizing now.
Yeah, I get your hot take of the week that it doesn't really matter. And kind of, I mean, people are going to be like, no, it has great ratings. This Game 7 got a 15 point something ratings. That's off the charts.
There's nothing else on TV.
I mean, yeah, that's basically it, to be honest. And it's just because, like, a lot of people hype it up. And when you hype something up, it just draws you to turn on television. It doesn't mean you're necessarily watching.
I mean, these are two of the biggest markets in the country. I mean, with LA and Houston, those are huge markets, and they both are starved for a title. And I just don't care.
Those are two of the 4 biggest cities in the United States.
It's incredible. Like, if this was the NBA, I wouldn't be able to turn a street corner without people talking about it. I have not heard a single friend, a single person just going between classes mentioning the World Series. Maybe it's because I'm in South Carolina, we don't have a baseball team, but it's just, nobody under the age of 25 is talking about this game unless you're in LA or Houston.
Yeah, I get you. And I wonder what our viewers think. I mean, I'll say this. Looking at Locker Room Beef's Instagram posts and what has been most successful, I think the third most successful post we've ever had was a baseball World Series post, which I was very surprised about. But yeah, basically we cater to all sports fans, and that, along with, you know what number one is? I want you to guess what number one was. And it's by far.
Oh, was it the Drake thing you did?
No, it was, although that is number two. I think that's number 2 or 4.
Ooh.
Which part of it is skewed, but I'm basing it off of how many followers we had and how much engagement we got. But the most engaging post that Locker Room Beef has ever had was the Christian Pulisic goal.
Shout out.
And when Christian Pulisic scored a ridiculous goal for the U.S. the game before they got trounced by Trinidad and bounced.
Young kids love soccer. Young kids love Christian.
So it honestly tells me that I'm not screwing up this whole soccer thing. Like, people actually want to hear and see it and talk about it. So it's amazing. But yeah, you can go both ways about baseball.
I used to love it.
Personally, not one of my favorite sports, but I do give it the time of day, especially during the World Series. I watch a lot of Game 5. I watch some of Game 2.
Those are some of the best baseball games of all time. Like you're it's not like you're naming just like an average game. Those were incredible. And if you aren't getting fired up about them, like, the excitement's just not there.
Game 6 of the World Series had better ratings than last year's World Series, which is kind of crazy considering all the historic feats that were on the table for last year. But I'm with you. I think it's sort of an interesting topic to see. Do you think, I wonder if baseball and soccer will sort of switch in their personas in America? Meaning, I wonder if soccer will be a sport that America will embrace as just like something people always do. Because the thing about soccer in America, it's basically every sport that every kid plays, and then you grow out and you play the sport that you end up really loving. At least that's the sentiment I feel in America. But for baseball, like, I don't know. I feel like those tides are starting to switch.
Yeah, I mean, what kid gets excited to play Little League anymore? I wasn't excited.
I don't know.
I feel bad if I'm pissing anyone off out there, but it just...
Oh, you are. You are.
Again, nothing new.
We lost a couple listeners just by having this conversation for sure.
2 of the 15 of them?
Yeah. Let me give my hot take of the week. And I know you're going to love this.
Oh, no.
All right. So, college football.
I'm going to promise not to interrupt you. You can say the whole thing.
I'm so happy. And I'm going to let you cook after I'm done, okay? So just marinate for a bit. So some crazy stuff has been happening in college football, and now we're getting a chance to see what the playoff picture is starting to look like. And it's very interesting. Obviously, your squad, Clemson, being in that race. I think there's about 7 or 8 teams that should be considered for that top 4. I had a lot of chips in Penn State when I was watching the Penn State-Ohio State game, which was an unbelievable game. Penn State was totally handling Ohio State. Ohio State was not playing very well. And then quarterback for Ohio State, JT Barrett, unbelievable.
He went 13 for 13 for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I
couldn't believe it. And to be honest, like I said, like, Ohio State didn't even play well, and they got the win. I couldn't believe it. And I thought Penn State was for real. I was starting to think maybe I'm going to make them my favorites to win.
What?
But Ohio State impressed me. So my hot take of the week is that Ohio State should be the favorites to win the NCAA football championship.
Kevin, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you. That is so wrong on all the levels. Okay, so we'll start with the Penn State win. The thing you think makes them great?
I just think it shows how much potential they have.
At Ohio State. That was a home game. If that was a neutral field, there was no comeback. If that was at Penn State, that was a fucking blowout.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Penn State's the hometown team. A little salty. Okay, another thing. Oklahoma versus Ohio State. Ohio State got stomped.
Yeah.
Another thing. Who was Ohio State beating this year besides Penn State by 1 at home? What have they done? What have they done? You have no reason to back this up.
Then why is Ohio State so highly regarded in the polls right now?
Because they have one loss. They're below Oklahoma. They're 6th.
Who's Alabama beat?
Alabama passes the eye test. Ohio State barely beat Indiana in the beginning of the season. Ohio State does not look good.
I'm telling you, on a big stage, I like JT Barrett. The dude did not make a mistake in the fourth quarter. You could have turned off your television because you thought it was over, and he ended up flipping the script.
Okay, hot take two. Watch it happen. Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. We're going to have a 3-way tie. Penn State's going to get back into the championship game, and they're going to stomp Wisconsin, and you're going to be eating those words because Ohio State is not a good football team. This team is one of the worst Ohio State teams I've seen probably since Urban Meyer got there, besides that 6-6 year when he first started. And I'm confident in saying that.
Okay, well, we'll see, I guess. But my hot take is that Ohio State should be the favorites.
You really think they could even... You think they could hang with any of the top 4?
I really do.
But the 5th team already beat Ohio State.
Yeah, but Oklahoma, I could have put in my trending down.
If you put any team in the top 10 against Ohio State, I'm taking the other team, except maybe TCU.
Time will tell.
Damn. Get you educated.
Well, that was a good segment for Hot Take of the Week. That was good. All right, let's introduce another segment. Another funny idea Nick and I sort of came up with. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pose Nick these different scenarios and ask him if that's a good prediction or if it's just fiction. So good prediction or fiction, that's the segment. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's your first scenario. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, who dat?
Shout out.
Are the best team in the NFC South. Is that a good prediction or fiction?
Fiction. They might have the best record now, but the best team is still the Atlanta Falcons.
What?
We talked about it before. They may be on a downswing right now, but I think this season will equal out. I don't think the defense can sustain what they're doing. Marshawn Lattimore looks amazing right now on defense. Drew Brees is ageless.
Who, me?
But I don't think the Saints can sustain what they're doing. I think they're going to regress back to the mean. And they might even hold out their division, but I think the best team in there and the biggest contender in that division is still the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go fiction.
Okay. Good prediction or fiction? The Eagles, a team I think you're familiar with, will finish with the best record in the NFL.
That's a good prediction. I don't even feel like I need to talk about it. Carson Wentz, MVP. Here's a better thing. Who do you think could finish with a better record than the Eagles right now? I mean, we just picked up a new running back to pair with our already great running back, our decent O-line, and our lockdown defense. Oh, and Carson Wentz.
I'm going to say this. I think the acquisition of Jay Ajayi needs to be talked about even more than it already is.
4th round pick. That's it.
That to me was such a steal. I know he's not having a great year. Believe me, I know. He was my first pick in fantasy.
Ooh.
I know. But he's still one of the most quality running backs in the league. And now him and your current running back, Sproles, right?
Oh, come on, Kev. Sproles broke his leg and got a concussion on the same play.
Like, yeah, I mean, but...
It's LeGarrette Blount.
Oh, yeah, I actually thought I said that.
What?
No, LeGarrette...
Like, Sproles died. I saw Sproles die on the field.
Oh, my gosh.
LeGarrette and Jay Ajayi are 1 and 3 respectively in breaking tackles at that position. And to put that along with who we said last week will be the MVP of the league, Carson Wentz, and to put that along with one of the most high-performing defenses in the league, in the Eagles' defense, I agree with you. I'm not just like gonna be against you just because you're a Philly homer, because 9 times out of 10 I will do that. But I actually agree with you. I mean, teams that you could consider, maybe the Pats, but their defense is atrocious. Over the long term, that's gonna lose them ball games.
Pats, Steelers, Seahawks, the only things I can name, and I like the Eagles to finish the better record than all of them.
I agree.
I think the Eagles maybe drop one more game this year.
So you think they go 14-2 conservatively?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Oh man, that's almost feeling like a bet.
Is it a bet?
How about 15-1?
15. got to be a pretty good bet. What are we talking here?
Well, let's just make it friendly. $10. Nothing to break the bank. Pay for my Chipotle. That's all.
Oh boy, $10 Chipotle order, Kevin. Damn.
Well, you know I like the queso, unlike others.
What?
Oh, that's a hot take of the week. I'll take a 14-2 bet. You know, I don't want to have to cry every Eagles game that we might lose.
14-2 bet.
I'll throw 15 down. You got my Venmo. I'll take the money.
We'll talk about it after the pod. All right, so that's a good prediction by you. So next scenario, the Browns will win a game before the 49ers. Is that a good prediction or just fiction?
So I was going to say it was a good prediction originally because I thought the Browns were going to walk ass backwards into a win and ended up with the second overall pick instead of the first because that's the Cleveland way.
Yep.
But Jimmy Garoppolo is now throwing the ball from 49ers, and I feel like he's going to get them 2 wins probably this year. So I'm going to have to go with prediction now, or fiction now on that one. I don't know. I'm a Garoppolo believer.
I kind of agree with you. That was a great pickup by them. I think the 49ers also have been a lot more competitive in games. I mean, the Browns, when they
start that Eagles game.
Yeah, well, the Browns, when they played the Steelers the first week and only lost by 3, I was like, oh man, maybe we're doing this all wrong. But yeah, no, not the case.
Nope.
I think the Niners actually had chances to win ball games, and they will. I agree with you. They'll probably win 2 games, 3 if they're lucky with Garoppolo, but I wouldn't bet on that either. All right, so that would be fiction by you.
Yeah, I will say, though, the NFC looks a lot stronger than the AFC, so Cleveland really could just catch a break. So we'll call it a prefiction.
What?
Prefiction.
You're screwing with the segment already, so thank you for that. All right, let me give you one last scenario. So good prediction or fiction. The Pistons are a top team in the East.
A top team or the top team?
A top team. Let's say top 4.
Oh, God. Right now?
Let's put it this way. When the All-Star break rolls around, are we still going to be talking about the Pistons as a top 4 or 5 team in the East?
No, it's a Stan Van Gundy coach team. But they look so good.
Hey, Stan Van Gundy went to the finals. Let me just add that.
Stan Van Gundy is a process hater, so I've got beef.
Stan Van Gundy's a normal human being.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a prediction right now. It's purely because of the fact that the East is atrocious.
So you think that the Pistons are on the same level as the Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Toronto, and the Wizards?
I think that they will be there still. I don't think they deserve to be there, but I think they'll be there.
I'm disgusted by you right now, Nick.
Reggie Jackson. No, actually, hold on. Ish Smith. My boy Ish Smith. Sixers player. Sixers great. Really brought the process along. Love me some Ish Smith. Love me some Tobias. Love me some Andre Drummond.
You know, I don't hate Tobias. I picked him up in fantasy. Great pickup by me. Anyways, very debatable, but okay. I guess you say that's a good prediction. The Pistons are a top team in the East.
It's by default.
We definitely just lost half the listeners right there. No doubt about that one. And that's okay. I understand. Please go ahead, leave. All right, so we're just going to transition to our last segment of the day, one that we also did last week, just a little league round beef fantasy update. Obviously, your guy, the Philly guy, was in it, and
I'm going to cut you off right here.
Oh, wow.
Last podcast, you said something very false about me. No, I listened, and I didn't say anything, but I think it's time to talk. I was not trying to screw you over for Kawhi Leonard. I had my price set at Kawhi Leonard. I was saving money too, and I saw you saving money, and I placed my highest bet, my most max I would pay for him, and then you wouldn't go over it. I am perfectly content with Kawhi Leonard on my team, and I've got Miles Turner. I have the most injury-ridden team right now, but I'll bounce back. I might be 0-2, but I'll bounce back.
You have the most injury-ridden team?
My first 2 players off the board have only played 1 game, combined the 2 of them.
Okay, but neither of them have season-ending injuries. Wade has Gordon Hayward and Jeremy Lin.
Well, Wade also believes in drafting just Celtics.
What?
Well, it's working better than other teams right now.
I'll bounce back. Once the gang gets back together, I'm going to roll through this.
By the way, just going back to our trending down teams, Cleveland just took another 17-point loss to your favorite, the Indiana Pacers.
Without Miles Turner, too.
It's pitiful. Also, the Magic without Aaron Gore and Elfrid Payton. I can't believe it. They lost to the Pacers without Miles Turner. Gosh.
Dude, it's the remnants of the Paul George trade. Sabonis and Oladipo look like NBA players now.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so back to league round beef. So just for our listeners, who's your squad? How did you draft? What was the process like? Give us your take on just the draft and how the first couple of weeks have gone.
So I always wanted to be the guy who had the money available. Problem was, I had to go out and get myself.
You had to screw me and get Kawhi Leonard at a very top dollar.
I had to get myself Kawhi Leonard. So once I got Kawhi, I was like, all right, pump the brakes. Just spent a third of my budget on one player. Let's chill. Then John Wall pops up.
Shout out.
No self-control. Went out and got me John Wall. Now I'm down to like 400 cash. Everyone else is like 700, 800. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes. I have to put up a pick. I put up Joel Embiid. I didn't realize everyone else wanted him. Really dropped the ball there. Should have waited a little bit. Ended up spending about 100 on JoJo.
Because you didn't give him up.
Really low there. I let Ben Simmons go. Oh yeah. By the way, I put up every Philadelphia player on the roster. Just every time I went up.
Oh my gosh.
Every single time. It was amazing. Until like the 15th round when I ran out of players to put up. Then I ended up getting Miles Turner off the bargain bin. And after that, I had a team of John Wall, JoJo, Kawhi, and Miles Turner. I'm like, this team could beat anyone 4-on-5. So I'm going to pump the brakes.
That's not how basketball works.
Too bad. So I'm sitting there with low cash and just talking with Trap. And I'm watching Trap do his business where he was the big stack guy. He was bullying everyone, making everyone raise the price, the thing I wanted to do. And he was just getting steal after steal. And then it happened. About 10 rounds later, I had the most money left. Problem was, people knew what I was saving it for. Victor Oladipo. So Brian Boatwright, the brain, saved up enough cash to make me overpay for Oladipo. And then from there on out, I had to literally pay pennies for the rest of my team. Got some players, though. Got me some Wilson Chandler, some Rob Covington, some Nerlens, Gary Harris, Wesley Matthews, Austin Rivers, Tim Hardaway. I picked up Zach LaVine off the bench, stashed him on my IR. I like what I have. I just got to get them all healthy.
Yeah, you posted the worst score thus far. I think a big reason is because Kawhi is out, but...
Thought Miles Turner was healthy, not going to lie. Started him all my first 2 weeks. Did not know he got a concussion week 1. Really dropped the ball there. Indiana's a black hole. Did not know he was not playing. Also thought Kawhi was back in week 2. He wasn't. He's still day-to-day. So really was not very proactive the first 2 weeks. But I'm here now. And I don't know if I'm going to win this week because I'm playing without Kawhi or Miles. But right now I'm locked in it's actually a 0.6 point game with the guy I'm playing right now who's also 2-0. It is a 0.6 game right now.
Wow, it's pretty close. Definitely still got the other half of the week to go, but you have probably been the most underperforming team, but like you said, your best 2 players are out, and I think that obviously adds to it. But yeah, you are going to get trounced if you don't figure that out, so just get with it.
Don't sleep on the Philly guy.
When it matters.
Any just big surprises for you as far as like now that you see the season has gone by? Just how you feel about what players that you should have picked up and what players you're glad you slept on?
I really wish I paid more for Giannis. The whole time I was thinking, do I want Giannis or Kawhi? He's on another level. So that one is kicking me. I'm not mad with any of the players I particularly drafted. I just wish that I had gotten more bigs and guards because I have a lot of wings, and wings don't put up high points in fantasy. My logic was I have to get the players there's not that many good wings in the NBA, so I'm going to go after them. And then I realized they only put up 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Those are not good fantasy numbers. So that's probably my biggest regret, fantasy-wise, in the NBA.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for filling us in on the Philly guys team.
Next time you talk to me, I'll be like 4-2 in this league. Guaranteed.
Nope.
You want to bet on that one?
No. No.
Well, any last remarks you want to say? Obviously, Champions League just happened. A lot of crazy stuff there. Football is going crazy, both college and national.
I'm just going to say it's probably the best sports environment I have ever been in. With Liverpool is competitive in the Champions League. Flyers are competitive in their division. They look amazing. They're a young team. They're going to make the playoffs. The Phillies just hired a new manager. The Eagles are class of the NFC and maybe the best team in football. And the Sixers just won again tonight to get the 4-4, and we are building something great. It is a great time to be a Philadelphia sports fan, and I can't wait to keep watching what's going to happen.
Let me remind you and the listeners, we made a bet preseason, way like in the summer, that Philly, if they win half their games, I owe you. But if they don't, then you owe me.
You nervous?
Not at all.
Oh, I would be if I were you. I love what we got.
I love what you have too, but as soon as JoJo turns that ankle, oof.
He's fine. He's fine.
I hope.
Don't get. I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight, Kevin.
Well, last thing I want to say is it's still early in the World Series, but the Astros look like they're kicking butt, so we'll see if the Dodgers end up coming back. But hopefully they do, and the Astros end up winning in tremendous fashion, just like I predicted. And tune in next week on the podcast. If you don't already, go follow our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever you have. We create content there for you, try to catch you up on the week in sports. Next week, I'm probably going to start integrating questions for the podcast in case you guys have any questions, and we'll have a mailbag segment. So definitely tune in for that. You can ask any question you want. It doesn't have to really even be about sports. If you want to give us like an awkward topic, depending on how awkward it is, we'll put it on the show. So thank you so much, Philly guy. It's been a great conversation.
Always.
And tune in next week.